of Nigerians are actually yearning for a mother. They're actually yearning for women, because just like in the home, is a woman that brokered the peace between the father and the children. I tell you, Elizabeth, a lot of times when the children become notorious, the man just say, talk to your children, you know, because it's now heady. And so 2015 again, I came out and it was rough. Then it was even so. You could see that you already, the people are waiting for you. And then the very few stakeholders are like, no, you can't be there. You're a woman. Why do you want to be a governor? Governor, why don't you go for something less? But then I am here again.
We're talking about women and politics, and you have been in it for 11 years, you know, going for the same seat, and even though it's not been, you know, considered for you, so to speak, you are still persistent. I'm wondering, what are those intricacies? Natasha, you're the newcomer, you're the new kid on the block, just 1 month old into the business. Anyway, I'm sure within 1 month, it's been stressful for you.
Yes.
You want to share this stress for us?
As a woman, first, let me say, when I said it's amazing, that's because I love challenges. So no matter how tough a scenario is, there's a fire in me that builds up stronger and stronger. So I believe I'm up to the task. But it's completely different from what I've been used to my whole life. As a social reformer, I could run with an idea, propose solution, and drive that idea within my space amongst those who believe in it. But as a politician, I've got to realize that it's about people. I need to connect with so many stakeholders. I need to get to know about the party regulations, rules. I need to, you know, and like she said, the financial aspect of things, the publicity, and all of this is like I'm learning 1,000 lessons every day. I've also got to realize that you need to sleep less. Like a few days now, I've been going to bed at 4 a.m. 2 days ago, I was out till 5:30 a.m. So a lot of
like
this,
you started your day 5:30 or?
I went to bed at 5:30 a.m., slept for just 2 hours. Yes, it gets that. And also because I intend to be a politician with a difference, I want to be able to develop my content. So I still find time to read more political books, but identified some mentors around the world and people like politicians I'd like to be like Barack Obama. And of course, I read legacies of Awolowo and MK Abiola, yes, because I'm a social democrat at heart. I believe in the power of the grassroots. And also, I've identified a lot more with female politicians, because in Nigeria, I could tell that we can all see that when you look at the participation of women in politics in Africa, Nigeria lags really low, like it's about 5.6% of women in leadership authority, as against Rwanda that we have 68%. I mean, you can see that there are countries that deliberately provide a space for active women participation. So that's one of the reasons why I was like, okay, you know what, enough of playing the game from the outside, trying to seek reform, I need to be in there. So like...
no, I'm just kind of curious. You say you sleep less.
Yes.
How do you manage to keep up? 2 hours a day? The doctor say 8 hours, 7 hours? Minimum 6 hours.
I think the body,
so
the body adjusts in a way.
Adjust to 2 hours?
Yes, but then what happened? I told you when I came into the studio, if there was some quiet moment, I would rather just sleep, catch a little nap here and there. Like power naps help a lot.
Does that explain why some senators sleep in the house?
I guess somehow there was a day. Yes, you did. But you know one thing. You actually, I think it's about self-balance. The body adjusts. But another thing I noticed in politics now is the sensitization of the electorate is very necessary, because Nigeria, especially in my place, Kogi State and Kogi Central, is highly political. Everybody, every youth aspires to be a politician or aspires to hang around politicians. So that's the way, a way of living. And that's what I'm trying to educate our people that, no, that's, you don't elect your leaders based on their years of office, of their how do I put it, years of active participation in politics. You know, the fact that one person has been, started from being a councillor to a local government, to a chairman, and all of that in House of Reps and Senate, that does not mean that person is qualified. So I have to educate people that, you know what, why don't you engage with your leaders or the potential, the aspirants, ask them about the vision, get to connect to see that that vision really matters to the development of your space. and then you can vote them in. So that's what I found. And second thing, another challenge I've discovered is a lot of people still expect you to have like a godfather. So many have asked me, who is your godfather? Who is your sponsor? Who is your financier? And I get to say, no, I don't have a godfather. I don't need to have a godfather. In this modern age, we need to have new thinking in politics. And so that's another thing I noticed.
How about godmother?
Well, because we haven't had that many women in politics, we have women entrepreneurs. So we do have, like in my entrepreneurial space, I do have women I look up to in terms of business and getting some smart ideas here and there. But when it comes to politics, we don't have a godmother yet. And I don't think we should get to the point of having a godmother. Yeah, that's another problem I've discovered again is conforming with political ideologies. I find even if they could have a space, I've interacted with the people at the national of LPC and say, okay, if you could have your manifesto to include more grassroots-oriented programs or more women inclusion, more women participation in politics. So it's about reforming the political documents themselves. I would say this openly, when I went through so many, the manifesto that adhered most to me is the UPN, because I went through that, which Awolowo campaigned with. That's fantastic, and it would be good if other modern political parties do make their manifestos more responsive to the social need in the grassroots so as to bridge in the gap. So by and large, these are the basic challenges I've discovered: voter sensitization, how to choose the right leaders, not looking down on women, because at the convention we had, the Women's Summit we had a few days ago, where the APC chairman spoke, he said, in modern times, it's not about muscle power that brings a leader, it's about the brain power. And God did not design the brain of a man to be larger than that of a woman. We all have our capacity. And whatever qualification you're looking for in a man, you can find as much more in a woman. In addition to that, we are more compassionate, women are more loyal, and like Madam said here, that we are nurturers of a society. And I think every woman should be given an opportunity to translate her mothering skills, which she applies at home, into building a society. And that is one thing that Rwandans have actually put in place.
You know, when she was talking with me off camera, she actually mentioned this brain aspect. She said the brain of a man is not different from the brain of a woman. But I see there's a lot of stigmatization on women who are in politics. Natasha, you're new in the game, but I know that Adachege here, it's an old guru. How do you deal with a lot of times, anyway, let's just spill it. Some people think women who are in politics do the dirty deal, they are no longer women, they don't care for their homes and all that. I've seen your children, I've seen your son. You can be one of them actually. Yeah. So how did you manage to build your home? I still want to know. And are those stigmas really correct?
No, they're just the make believe. They're just that thing that they throw there to make sure the woman shies away and run far away from the political front. But for real, it depends on that particular woman. It just like in the case of the male counterpart, it's from one man to the other, their behaviors. So also is the women. But this particular notion you just put forward now keeps a lot of women into their homes and make sure they don't even come near the political space.
Because they're scared of being stigmatized.
Exactly. But for me, I would like to tell you that I'm this girl that was born to make it happen and to prove that the women are not less a human being than the men. I got married at the age of 18 and I was in the 100 level reading mechanical engineering. That was a male-dominated world. We're 72 students with only 2 women. And I tell you, I gave birth to 3 kids while I was in the school. And so this is 29 years in marriage. I'm 29 years. I'm a grandmother, forget the look. I'm a grandmother. And God has given me the grace to relate with my husband, my children, and my grandchildren, while I'm still giving honor to our political elite. Wherever you are, traditionally, religiously, wherever, we must give honor to those who honor belongs to. But then I completely oppose this system of a woman cannot be in politics. She cannot go out in the night for meetings because she's a woman, or somebody is going to use
But you
her.
went out in the night sometime for a meeting. I remember it was in the papers, and you had an accident.
Yeah, oh, had an accident? No, I go out at night, but not, I never had an accident with
A
one,
kind of
maybe.
attack or something.
Oh, that was during the campaign. During the campaign, that's why we talk about violence, you know, the thugs, you know. There was a time my campaign train were actually being fired directly at. And what I did, I would like to let you know, Elizabeth, that we were there, and then they said, and they started shooting, and then we ran off. The police actually protected me, and I ran off to the police headquarters, and I stood there and I said, I need more policemen, because I'm going right back to that field. Nobody's going to scare me from this campaign rally, because all they do is they come and give you a shot here and there, shoot at you and the rest, and then you keep off, and then you just run away. And so I stood at the police headquarters, and I demanded that they give me more security. And I tell you, I went right back that very day to that field.
You weren't scared?
No, because we're all Nigerians.
Right. Can you do that?
You don't get me killed, because I must get my points into the society. We have to make this country a better society. We must include women. The president said the other day at the Women's Center that this bill must be passed. And I know it will be passed. And I know that the national chairman of the parties were expecting nothing less than 30% in all spheres. Like you talk of 36 governors, we shouldn't have less than 10 female governors. For Christ's sake, this country is about to go into a very, very, you know, the tension keep building up. You need female governors, you need female senators, enough at the House that will be like, oh, as the Igbos will say, Cherry, what's going on? Yankuri, you know, take it easy. You know, a lot of women need to come in this 2013 before we boil up this country. 2019. Sorry, 2019. Before we boil up the political sphere. But I tell you, it's not funny, but then a lot of women, I know, she's also so strong, and I know a lot of women out there are going to
She's the jump bites.
Yeah, but I'd like to say something. And I appreciate the fact that in your state, probably women are probably being picked up to an extent as the weaker sex. But in mine, because I'm an Ibira lady, and we actually, our women are very strong, and we run a lot of the local economy. We're the farmers, we weave clothes, and we know typically Ibira woman is extremely strong, and she's recognized there for that. So I have not had people point at my gender as a problem. As a matter of fact, I've got a huge lot of acceptance with that, because also, you know, advocating for the steel sector, that's predominantly a male-driven area, and I was able to do that so well. I mean, few months ago, we got the National Assembly to expunge Ajakuta from the privatization list, and we created $1 billion lifeline funding for it. So, and that's a milestone we've achieved. So people don't look at me as, oh, she's a woman, you shouldn't be out there in leadership. We shouldn't. People don't look. I think I have a lot of acceptance, and now we have a lot of women. Good. And at home, 80% of the voters are actually women. So I think when it comes to that, I'm quite comfortable. The Market Women or the Clothing Association, everyone has been so supportive.
You know, but I keep wondering, because what you just mentioned, our population census tells us that we have a lot of women in this country, much more than men. And what's stopping us from actually clinching, even if it's the highest seats? I don't know. What's the problem? Why don't we vote ourselves?
Hello. You know, when I talk about experience, I talk about what I've seen, I talk about what is available right now so that we can move to the next stage. The last few days, we got the statistics of women participation in the present corridor of power, which in Nigeria is just about 6% thereabout. You know, why the women have this attitude of not being able to go in, there are two major problems. Number one is the funding. You can hear a lot about if even the cost of the forms you know, tells you that it's already set for people who have some money in their pockets, you know. And
But
so
some political parties, their forms are free.
Free now.
for the women, for the women, quite well, they're free. But then what I'm trying to say is that even if for the men is this is the amount, it shows that this kind of man has some strange money somewhere to throw around, you know, when it comes to the reality of this thing. And then with the poverty that is in the country, you see a lot of people feeling that if I take this small amount today, I might not see you again for 4 years, so let me take this now. So the vote buying affects women. Toggery, you don't want to get killed. You don't want your children to get killed. And the major problem women have, which we're really working on in a lot of the forums, is that because women generally are loyal to their husbands, when they come into the political space, they want to hear, what did the leader say? What did this senator say about these candidates? So I tell them, if you were getting married and you did not wait for your mother to say who you're going to marry, you're a man, you're getting married at the age of 20-something, you didn't wait for your father to say, this is a woman. Now you need a person that wants to rule you for 4 years, and you're going to sit for somebody to tell you who to follow. So a lot of women get, a lot of, they make the quantity of women that you see shouting at political forums and campaign grounds. When it's time for voting, you see them pull back and like, what did they say he said? You know, and then you're like, hey, you're a woman, vote for this woman. And they're like, okay, I will. You know you are the best, but I don't want to dishonor this, our leader. So women have that problem. We've seen it happen. In 2015, I was the second runner-up after Samuel Otom, and I saw it all happen. And a lot of the women that were with you at the point, they begin to shiver and they begin to, but we have done a lot. And I believe that with the present First Lady of Nigeria, I want to tell you, Elizabeth, and you that is here, Winnie, I think we're going to see 2019 better because she doesn't miss her word.
Yes, definitely. She doesn't mix words. And we'll be right back after this break. When we come back, don't forget, it's women in politics. I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't do that.
They took my money, I paid every fees, I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Power to women.
Yes,
we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely. The show is still conversations, and we've been chatting with aspirants here, gubernatorial aspirants and senatorial aspirants from different states. Of course, they are all women discussing challenges of women, because this time around we are saying women, we must speak it up and do it right. And you know, it says Hadiza, that it's a man's world really, and I really don't know what that means, but I also know that these men have influence when it comes to marriage. Talk to us about you, your aspirations, and your family status.
Oh, okay. I thought you were not going to ask that in open, but let's discuss it. I'm a single parent. to 3 great children, and I have done pretty well managing my home, I'm managing my business, and now managing politics. So I have not really been stigmatized with the fact that I'm a single parent.
Seriously?
Yes, except
Because a lot of people will
no,
tell you.
from my, like I said, from my own place, we have a lot of strong women, and even in the north we've had Queen Amina, who, you know, and she ruled quite well. She conquered a lot of northern territories, and she was single. And some even say she was a black widow, but that's on the other part. So bringing it home, I have not really, except a few elders called my attention to just ask, okay, what is your status? Are you single? And how is that going to translate into your capacity to lead? And so I just explained to them, I said, look, I put them through my achievements in life, and I've made them realize that my personal life does not in any way or is going to hamper my capacity to deliver the mandates that the people deserve. And of course, when you look at what I've achieved from my secondary school, I was the head girl in Federal Government College, Douani, to my MBA, where I made the best results in oil and gas management. And I've always been an achiever because I have learned to compactualize the necessities. Like what is important, I give my absolute focus and attention. And that's exactly what I was able to translate into my advocacy for the revival of Ajaokuta Steel Company. And I don't think I'll have a problem in putting my very best in service. I mean, come on, my people, what matters most to them is social justice, economic development, which will translate into peace, unity, and progress of our communities. So how does that affect, how does my being single affect that? I mean, that's my personal life. But of course, I would like to say I respect the marriage institution. I do look forward to getting married someday, but not now. I'm not searching. No, because I mean, I do interact with a lot of female politicians, and some of them, like Madam said, sometimes some women drop off because of their husband's intervention. And I would like to say that's the plus side, because I don't really have a man to like report to and tell, oh, wait, well, we'll probably have him stop me from attending late night meetings. So I'd like to say that I'm looking forward to the days I'm going to get married, but for now I'm taking the best advantage of being single and giving my utmost attention, undivided responses to my constituents, future constituents, and I think I let it go.
But do you think, you know, our husbands actually stop us from getting to that position? Do you really think that?
No, some husbands do, and many husbands as well encourage their wives. I want to be, it's a very, very rare privilege, and I'm lucky I'm blessed to be that woman that the husband is always standing by me for any ambition. I tell you, when I wanted to be a commercial pilot in 1997, when I went to the school, even before I enrolled, and some other friends of his will come and like, your wife will be flying around and she's going to go around with different men, and are you going to allow that? And you know what he said? He said, when she finished flying and she comes down, is she going to be my wife still? I think I'm okay for her. If she finished flying around and she remains my wife, I am good, and I know the other I married, she's not going to even fly around, but all the same, I think I'm okay with her, you know. So a lot of men, actually, you can see a lot of the female ministers and female senators, you actually ask them, and their husbands have been there for them. So I don't want this feeling of all men don't want to encourage their wives. Some have this very, very poor attitude of letting their wives to become something, but most times
some of them do it because they have
they're
a
afraid.
complex.
You know, most
they
times
just have complex.
Yeah,
they think the woman will be bigger than them.
and most times when they let go the woman and they see how successful the woman become after them, they begin to even feel like having those women back again. So you see a lot of the women that are even separated still having very healthy relationship with the husband that were not actually comfortable when they were taking some moves while in their home. So I think by and large it's marital status for women is a lot factor, but then a lot of women have a cell beyond marital status, just like so many examples. You can't just stop naming them. For me, 29 years on the road of this marriage, it has been with him, and he's still in it. In the campaigns, he goes with me, and I tell him, funny, I said, hello, you have to cast your vote first. So when we're going for the campaign, you sit this side. Look at what the Queen of England does. You know, be here and I be here. When you have casted your vote, your male counterpart will cast their vote, because they say that you have accepted that I be the governor, you know. And he laughs over it. I say, if that is going to give you happiness, if that's going to make you to serve these people, because he knows what is in me. And, you know, and so as a mechanical engineer, I rose to be a fellow. I'm a fellow of the Nigerian Study of Engineers as far back as 2012, you know, and that's like being a son. You know, a lot of people don't know the engineering ranking, but they know a lot about barrister, you know. When you are a son, it's like a fellow in the Society of Engineers. So I'm at the peak of my career in terms of engineering. And then in terms of this particular race, he has been there. He has been there all along. I will not hide it. And the tea people, generally, they place and marry to, they just have a great way of supporting their wives. And that's the only thing that gives me the confidence to say I want to be governor. Because my husbands have a lot of value for their wives, and they know their wives are their strength. And then the culture in Benue, why I'm very confident, Elizabeth, I tell you, this 2019 is going to be a different story. I'm confident because the two culture where I come from, the Idoma and the Tiv culture, they actually diversify to merge at me. The Idoma culture says that the woman's inheritance remains with her fathers, and then the Tiv culture says the woman's inheritance is in her husband's. So for the Tiv man, because I'm married and have a child with them, I am entitled to everything a Tiv man is entitled to, because they look at it like I'm trying to pick up for their own children. And then for the Idomas, it's like 9 local governments over there. And their belief is that you're a daughter, wherever you go to, you marry to an Iranian, you marry to an American, you marry to a T person, you're always an Idoma child, and whatever is your inheritance, you're good to come and pick it any day. And so politically, that brings you to a lot of culture affects women, especially marriage, when you're talking of status. That's why I'm bringing the culture out.
But do you seriously think that when women succeed politically, you know, they become, so to speak, administrators, leaders, be it in the states, the Senate, or local government, wherever, are they still able to perform their functions at home, like go to the kitchen and cook, you know? Generally, African culture, men like to be, I don't want to use the word served, pampered by their wives. They want to receive the food in their hands. You know, were you still able to give that touch with your family?
To be honest with you, when the man understands with you, the days you are not home and the days you're not chance, and he gets his meals with the people around, he will be comfortable with it. But when you are home and when you're chance, you have to give the touch and make him know that, oh, yesterday I was unable, 5 days ago I was unable to do it, but today I am here and I'm here for you. You know, and so you relax back and let him feel that you are a wife again, and that you are a woman, and that you haven't gotten puffed off by the positions
you
that you are.
Him, yes, darling.
Oh, sweetheart.
You had questions, right?
Yeah, but I would just like to say, in mine, with my children, with the past 1 month that I've been on the road, I have always created time to attend to the kids, especially their homeworks. Like Saturdays now, immediately I get back home now, it's homework time, it's catching up on each child's personal stories. I still take time to shower them, you know, and we garden as well, look around the plants. And so it's, I think right now what I used to take for granted, like, you know, mom is always around, I try to make a conscious effort like putting them, scheduling them into my timetable. So the family won't feel neglected. Yeah, I've had some questions I'd like to ask you. Being a seasoned politician, and I wish you well in the upcoming elections.
I wish you well too.
Thanks. I'd like to know how you've been able to address the issues of fundraising. Like, have you had fundraisings before, and what has been the responses from people?
Yeah, you know, fundraising depends on your contacts and those who have confidence in you. When you're raising funds, you're going to look around about your own contacts and then those who have confidence in you. And so you're going to make sure that you are able to let them know what is their stake and what you're about to do with what they're giving you. And then if you have a track record of prudence, and you have a track, which I know you do have a lot of that, if you have a very good track record of prudence and they can trust you, you could just be sure you can marshal some energy. But all the same, it's a general problem for women, you know, because we have women who, a lot of us are actually, because of our individuality nature, you know, you don't want me to know what's happening in your home. I don't want you to know the negative side of what's happening in my home. Elizabeth wants to keep aside what's the negative thing in her home. We actually don't network enough like the men do. You know, if I'm a male politician, all the men around about me, we know our problems, what's happening in your house, what's happening with your fund. You know, like women, you're running broke and you're still hiding it. You still making everybody feel that money is there, or you're having a challenge at home and you don't even tell your best friend because you feel it's going to laugh at you. The men don't actually consider that somebody is going to laugh, you know. Just they want to get the problem solved, you know. They want to get the problem solved. So funding is a challenge for women politicians. It's not just in Nigeria; it's all over. But then it can be surmounted, and we're praying that the system itself. We're praying seriously because we're running a government of integrity, and we're praying seriously that this 2019 election is going to talk less about cash and more about integrity, more about track record, more about achievers, so that the women could come in. And then the fund will not be a problem.
Okay, thanks for answering the yes, of course you did. The second, which is also going to be the last, is we appreciate the efforts of the First Lady, Aisha Buhari, for intervening affirmatively in ensuring that there are more women in politics. I think that has broken the barrier of women trying to keep their own space. Now we find from the leadership top women reaching out to support women. And how have you been able to manage the various women groups and organizations in your state? And how do you think has been their responses? Like, of course, you talked about women supporting you, and towards the end, probably because their husbands or someone at the top told them, you know what, this is where my vote is, and I expect you, the women, and because culturally, women are known to be submissive and obedient. So how do you think you're going to break that? Not like I'm trying to say women should be rebellious, because if you recall that day, Dr. Laraba Shoda said, she reminded us about the Aba Women's Riot, but talked about peace and strategy and implementation. So are there strategies you would want to engage the women organizations with to ensure that those women groups who have told you now that, yes, we know we are the majority electorate and we are giving you our votes till the very end, so that they don't pull out? Because that's, I want to know.
You know, I've engaged a lot of women across the years of my political ambition. I want to inform you that I have the Adachenge Divine Foundation. It's a foundation deliberately structured out to help women. We give out loans to women without interest. You know, you like use it for 3 months. You'll be surprised that women just need like 30,000, 40,000 to turn around their minor and micro businesses. And so I have a full NGO, a full foundation, Adachenge Divine Foundation, that takes care of a lot of these of these organizations and women forum around. And I tell you, we've done it over the years, and so each time you want to be better than you were last time. And all that we're talking, even on this television, we're still speaking to that one woman out there and like, hey, when it's time for vote, cast your vote for the woman that you know is a woman of integrity. We're not like every woman must be voted for, but you must check the women and be sure they are the women of integrity, and then you cast your vote for them. And then as we also relate with the men, we can't exist on our own, you know. So I'm not just taking along the women, I'm taking along the men a lot. I tell you, the traditional rulers in Benue State, during the launching of Adachenge Divine Foundation, we have 23 local governments, 23 out of 23, with only one absent because of medical trip, were all seated to see and to support my organization. So it's quite
she's in asking all the questions. I want to fire on that.
Okay.
Now, your
I think she wants to just know how
learning.
much, how she moving.
I want to see how much she has been able to learn. My director is telling me it's almost time. But before we leave, I want to know, how do you manage the seats? Because I know one of the reasons why I really can't be a professional politician, so to speak, is
I can't stand
stand
not
liars.
for now.
I can't stand people who are double-faced, you know, but I know that they will always come to you. Either they are looking for a way to siphon money or one thing or the other. I really don't know. How do you manage these things?
First, I'd like to say it's, as much as it's amazing, it's a learning curve. And they have, like, a lot of intrigues I've experienced, a lot of lies I've seen, a lot of deceit. And people say, hey, it comes with the territory, what we're expecting. And I've also learned how to be very diplomatic. And before, my words were very straightforward and honest, and somehow coming across...
Diplomacy does not mean telling lies here.
To me, I would not apply lie telling, even though I've been told that you have to lie a little. I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to lie. I'll be as diplomatic as possible. Because if you want to change the narrative of leadership, especially women coming in and then democracy, then you have to apply some different tactics. So I've discovered that, like I said, some lies, a lot of deceit, a lot of people coming to you just for what they can get at the moment. People are not interested in the long term. When I try to sell them the vision of what the impact the laws we're going to create and their impact in society, be like, oh, that's long term. I want now. What's in it for me now? Give me, no matter what, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Another thing I've realized is suddenly everybody's problems became my problem. Everyone, oh, my son is in the hospital. My wife just had a baby. I need to pay school fees. And I had to tell them, okay, I sympathize with you. The little I can do, I want. But at the same time, I try to educate them that if you are trying to put so much pressure on me, and that means you're automatically trying to push me to go get a financier. That means that's where the godfatherism thing comes in. Or if I go borrow money or I sell some of my private properties to just win the election, that means I then become the kind of politician who goes in to embezzle funds to replenish the pocket which I dug too deep in. So I try to educate them. That's what I said. Voters' education is critical, is important. How people should choose their leaders, and how to follow through inclusive governance to ensure that these leaders they elect deliver on their promises. But like I said, so far it's interesting. It's a lot of new lessons every day, and I encourage every other woman to step in. It's not as scary as it's been portrayed, maybe because I was called upon by our people, so I have the support of the traditional rulers, of the youth. The youths are fantastic. Nobody looks at my little flaws as a person. Everyone tries to support. There's no gender being mentioned. There's no religious discrimination. There's nothing about age. And they were like, you know, as a matter of fact, like, oh, they're not too young to run bill has come up. And it's been support, prayers, motivation, and encouragement all through. And I encourage more women to step up.
Come on, more
here
women
to come
definitely
up.
will come up. Thank you so much
you.
for coming on the show. And Chief herself, Dachenge, thank you for coming. They've been telling me my time is up. All right, you heard them all. If your PVCs are ready, the best thing to do is polish it. Women or no women, the power is in that card. go
It is.
and vote for the right candidate. Even though we advocate that we should create change, every change lies in the woman. Please vote. Vote for your conscience. All right, conversation continues some other time. Don't go away. They said is a political animal, and when I say man, it is generic. But a lot of times we seem to leave the politics or political arena for the male folks, so to speak. The events of recent past has actually told us that it is not just for the man, it is for the women. But then, do we have enough strength? Do we have enough space? Do we have enough charisma? Do we even have financial muscle to be able to contest with the male folk within this political arena? That will be the thrust of our discussion, our chat, our conversation here in the conversation room. Thank you for joining us. I am Elizabeth, and I have lovely ladies with me here, and we'll be doing, masticating this topic all around. The good thing is that the women with me are political aspirants to one seat or the other, and let me leave them to introduce themselves.
It's quite an honor to be here discussing this very important topic. My name is Barrister Natasha Hadiza Poti. I'm a senatorial aspirant, Kogi Central District. Thank you.
Okay, and I have the daughter, Diada, from Benue State. And I know you're vying for gubernatorial seat.
Right, very right. You always get it right. Elizabeth, it's wonderful being with you. I'm so happy to see you here. We quite spoke a little while before this stage. I'm Engineer Dr. Roslyn Adachenge from Benue State, and I am vying for the position of the governor of the state.
Oh, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll continue with this discussion. But, when I say women and politics, a lot of people raise eyebrows. And I'm going to go out there and find out with people, within the streets. Are Nigerians ready to vote for a woman as female president? Let's see.
Yeah, women can rule Nigeria because women are trustworthy. They are sincerely from their hearts. Whatever they do it best. That is I'm strongly believe that women can rule this country more than men. Yes. Because they have compassion over people. Because women, we have a compassionate heart, both for men and for female. But for both our children, we know how to handle things. We are ready. Yes, women are ready. You see so many women coming out for presidents. So many are coming out for governors and senators. They can be able to give us that chance, that opportunity. Women are ready to rule Nigeria. And we rule it with sincerity, without even frozen Nigeria's money. We'll do it with all our hearts.
I don't think so. Well, if you look at an African tradition, apart from the Liberian woman, I've not seen any. I don't know, maybe there is, but I don't know any woman that is president. But for Nigeria own, the environment is not clear for women to become Nigerian president because there is violence in our elections, and women cannot stand violence. So definitely they may. It's not that they cannot be president, but the atmosphere is not conducive for now, as you ask me. You are saying now. Oh.
I don't think that it will be possible. I don't think it will be possible because the husband may not like it. Even the children may not like it because politics it deals, in my own opinion, I think it deals with so many atrocities. They may be ready, but they need massive support. Who will support them? You know, some people may camouflage, pretending to support them, just to collect money and materials, other materials, and cars from them. On the day of the voting, they may go and vote for the people they like. The woman that they have been campaigning for, carrying her posters from here and there, they may not even vote for that woman on the voting day. They may go and vote for the person they like best. So in my own opinion, I don't think it will be possible for a woman to be a president of Nigeria.
If you can see the male counterparts, the politicians who are male, before now, they have taken over the political atmosphere. And what do I mean by that? Looking at political situation in Nigeria, if you don't have what it takes in terms of finance, not to talk of to buy the form for a political party, it's unaffordable for the female counterparts. And apart from that, Nigeria as a country, we don't believe in the leadership of the females.
Yeah, of course, because the way it is now is better for women to rule. Due to the situation of Nigeria, that if it is women, no matter what, they must have a feeling as a mother. Yeah.
You see, in a country like ours, we always believe that we always believe in that gender difference. We don't believe in gender equality, as at now, and we also believe that the men are the head and they should be the one in charge. But that is not to say that if women are given the chance, they will not be able to do same or even much more better. That because I don't belong to that school of thought that a man is able to do it all. Men have been doing it and they have failed us drastically. And I believe, in my own opinion, if a woman is given a chance to rule this country, I want to believe she will be able to do something. She will even excel.
To my own opinion, I don't think they are ready.
Views of masses there, but I know that we are ready, definitely ready. And with two of you sitting down here, I believe that we'll take our women folk, well represented, our discussions well trashed out. But I'm wondering, Natasha, when I knew you, you were in the university studying law.
Right.
I never thought you'd be this. How did you, build up this desire to become first activist, now, a politician?
I'd like to call myself a social reformer, even though many attribute my activities to activism, and that's fine. You're right. Back in the days in university, I never thought I was going to get into politics. And I was just a regular girl with big dreams. Found myself in the with my career world. I worked in the brass LNG, in the oil and gas sector. And over time, I resigned and became a social entrepreneur, a social reformer, popularly known to be the advocate for the revival of Ajakuta Steel Company and the resuscitation of the steel sector. But my experience in that field for the past 3 years have proven to me that the voice of a citizen in the civil space takes a long time to be heard. And it's very difficult to create the impact from the outside. And considering the fact that Ajakuta and the steel sector demands a lot of political will, and over time I realized that, look, political will seems to be the missing end, and that can only be given by a politician. Mm-hmm. And after the famous March 1st presentation I made at the National Assembly, that got me up close and personal with the legislative, and I realized a whole lot of loopholes, like Nigeria does not have a set of steel laws, and the industry sector seems to be missing so many policies and regulations. And of course, at the same time, the people back home in the senatorial district, you know, kept on calling on me that, you know what, Natasha, why don't you go in there into the National Assembly and represent us, be our voice. We need so much more of you because we find the content we need in leadership. And then just about a month ago, I accepted the call of service, and it's been amazing. Been, you know, a new politician.
Did you say amazing?
Yes, it's
like seriously.
It's been interesting.
I'm sure she does not agree with you. Is it amazing?
Well, I think she the call, you know, asking her to come for service might be amazing, but I think she's going to really find it a little bit more intriguing when she now really brings herself out for the voting. I think coming out to let the people vote for you and then wait for them to vote for you and see how the vote counts, it's going to be lots more challenging than being amazing. But then it's good. You know, I have been there, you know, as an engineer. I actually want to be at the executive part because I feel a lot of laws have been there, and so many things about the implementation. And so actually, as an engineer, you know, it's all about engineering something that is profiling a solution to a problem. I see the decay in the infrastructure of this country. I see the short-term planning, you know, you're building a road and then it's for just 10 years, and then in the next 10 years you're building again, or you're breaking down the pipelines. It's so horrible because this country, we need to build for 100 years, you need to build for 200 years, and then it's sustaining. So I decided to come in as far back as 2007.
And you've been contesting since 2007?
Been, yes.
No, can we share some of your, I mean, one would expect, okay, after the first trial, you know, you would like to.
I'd like to know
you like to know
okay,
let's get to find out this experience. 2007, that's like 11 years now.
Yes, exactly.
And you've not given up?
I haven't, because I'm a go-getter. As a woman, it was strange for me to read mechanical engineering. And as of 1997, I dared to go to the commercial pilot school to become a commercial pilot. And so I have a lot of daring attributes in me. And I feel unless I get what I want, I don't leave the stage. 2007, I came out, I contested with the then Suswan, the governor of Benue State. I never gave up, I never stepped down. Like President Buhari never stepped down one day. That is also very, very common with me. And when I didn't get to win, it was quite rough. You have the togway, you have the lack of fun. You know, women, we don't ever have the energy to chunk money from public fund in order to throw it around during campaign. So one way or the other, I got out of, I couldn't make it. And then I wasn't actually out of the system because they saw something in me that I had to contribute. And then I became the general manager of the Benue State Water Board. And then I made sure that we designed a waterworks that could last for 35 years.
Oh, really? 35
yes,
years?
35 years. It's still running. But the problem, again, is the distribution. While we were designing it, I kept insisting that we have to do the distribution network, because like you're cooking food in the pot without making provision for the plate, you know, so the distribution network is not too strong yet in Benue State. And then in 2015, that's 8 years after, I like, okay, my people are still there, and the general population of Nigerians are actually yearning for a mother. They're actually yearning for women. Because just like in the home, is a woman that brokered the peace between the father and the children. I tell you, Elizabeth, a lot of times when the children become notorious, the man just say, talk to your children, you know, because it's now heady. And so 2015, again, I came out, and it was rough. Then it was even so. You could see that the people are waiting for you, and then the very few stakeholders are like, no, you can't be there, you're a woman. Why do you want to be a governor? Governor, why don't you go for something less? But then I am here again.
We're talking about women.
To the collaboration between our two agencies.
Fagbemi noted that NEMCO has cleared the legacy liabilities of all successor companies and saved about 68 billion naira due to diligent verification of legacy liabilities of independent power plants, IPPS, saying,
I don't think there's any successor company as we speak, either Genco or Disco, that has pre-completion liabilities related issues. I don't think so. We've given them comfort, and it wasn't an easy journey anyway, but again, that's where we are set up, to give comfort to those successor companies so that they'll be able to actualize and operate without these liabilities weighing them down. So we tried as much as possible to ensure that the two major mandates of our organization, that's warehousing the liabilities and also warehousing the stranded assets of PACN, were above board on them from the sector. And we gave the people the opportunity to prove their case, if they have any case. And I want to assure you that nobody has been able to come forward to prove its case as it relates that. We've been able to also get discounts from all these creditors, because one of the strategy is that if you want your 100%, you should be ready to let go some part of it.
On the transfer of TCN legacy liabilities, the NEMCO boss said his agency was working to ensure the procedure was excellent and without legal issues.
Let it pass through the basic channels that the EPSR Act recognizes. That's the National Council on Privatization, and clear all those documents, all those areas. I'm aware that very soon there's likely to be a tripartite meeting between the Director Legal, Ministry of Power, Legal, TCN, and Legal NEMCO to see how best to structure that transfer process. So as I said, we are actually eager to take up your liabilities because we want to remain in business.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. We hope you had an exciting time with us on this edition. Keep a date with us on subsequent episodes as we keep track of developments in the power sector. Join us on Power Wheel, same time, same station, next week. Until then, you can watch our program via our YouTube channel and as well reach us through these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chiwenwa Anyao. Bye for now.
What does scoring a football goal and mathematics have in common? In the world of Ubongo Kids, everything we do can be related to